city of Denver, the state of Colorado, you guys have been fucking amazing for the last 10 years.
Let me start off with a Twitch feed this morning, and I got to get the whole name right. Mile High Hockey Lab.
The city of Denver, the state of Colorado, you guys have been fucking amazing for the last 10 years.
Let me start off with a Twitch feed this morning, and I got to get the whole name right. Mile High Hockey Lab.
The city of Denver, the state of Colorado, you guys have been fucking amazing for the last 10 years.
Let me start off with a Twitch feed this morning, and I got to get the whole name right. Mile High Hockey Lab.
The city of Denver, the state of Colorado, you guys have been fucking amazing for the last 10 years.
Let me start off with a Twitch feed this morning, and I got to get the whole name right. Mile High Hockey Lab.
The city of Denver, the state of Colorado, you guys have been fucking amazing for the last 10 years.
Let me start off with a Twitch feed this morning, and I got to get the whole name right. Mile High Hockey Lab.
The city of Denver, the state of Colorado, you guys have been fucking amazing for the last 10 years.
Live from Spectrum Community Services Studios in Colorado, USA. This is the Mile High Hockey Lab.
Yeah, welcome into the Mile High Hockey Lab, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. I am Ezra Parter. I'm guest hosting for Adrian Hernandez, who is out. He is, let's see, what would be fun for him to be doing? He is on a mountain learning how to mine gold. And I hope it goes really well for him. I am joined by the rest of our panel, our former managing editor, Evan Liu, our current managing editor, Jackie Kay, and wonderful reporter, Brennan Vogt. Thanks for being here, everybody.
Hello.
Well, hello. I didn't realize that the volcanoes in Hawaii had gold in them, I guess.
Oh, we're revealing his real location. I didn't want to give away his stalking coordinates for anyone.
We just hope he's enjoying his vacation. How about that?
Yes, very much so. Very much so. His vacation learning to mine gold in the mountains of Hawaii. Interesting week for Colorado. I think let's get right into it. I mean, we started out with a loss, the second regulation loss of the season. Not what we were looking for from that Islanders game, but there were some positives later on in the week with two back-to-back wins in matinee games over the weekend. But Jackie, I'll start with you. How did you feel about that Islanders loss?
It seemed like they've been flirting. Well, they even did it in the weekend wins. Just some slow starts, bad first periods, and it kind of caught up to them this time. I mean, usually they only give up one or maybe two goals, so that's easy for them to overcome. But, when you start seeing 4 and 5 go on the board, that becomes a little bit tougher. So, you kind of have to lose every once in a while to kind of understand what it takes to win and how hard it is to win, even when you're dominating. So I guess it was interesting. It was the Islanders. It is sort of falls under that rematch a time frame that I look at, which will come up later this week when we talk about this week's games. But the Islanders have been playing well. If you look in the standings, it's actually kind of surprising where they are. So, I mean, good for them. So, I guess they had to be knocked off the peg a little bit, but I mean, come on, it's only their second regulation loss, so not too much of a humbling.
Yeah, very much so. I agree. I mean, it is one of those things where you chalk up a loss, and obviously nobody wants to lose any game. But if you're going to lose one, losing one to an Eastern Conference team in a game that leads into 2 wins is maybe the way you want to do it. But Evan, for you, I mean, we saw in that game Mackenzie Blackwood a little bit shaky, especially on that 4th goal. But he did bounce back with two goal games over the weekend. How are you feeling about Blackwood being pressed into the full-time starters role with Wedgwood's back injury?
Yeah, no, I think it was definitely a surprise to see him play that second game against the Flyers. Definitely thought that at least one of those 2 games was going to go to minor, right?
They don't care about doing that.
I guess I was surprised by that. But nonetheless, I mean, yeah, that Islanders game, not just from Blackwood, but in general from the team, was definitely a little rough. I think it was coming at some point, right? I think someone said it in a post game broadcast or something. As much as you'd want to go 81-6 or whatever it is, whatever their record would be at this one, just went out. It's as fun as that would be. There's just no way that would happen. So good little, I guess, reset for the Avalanche to kind of come back down to earth, realize, hey, we aren't immortal, right? And then they had to fight for those last 2 wins anyways against the Rangers and the Flyers, with that game time goal by the Rangers in the closing seconds, needing overtime. That McKinnon goal was unbelievable. I was stuck at work, so I didn't get to see it, but I saw it later that night, and I was just, oh my gosh, he's still just so good, insane. And then, of course, like you said, they had to fight for that Flyers game too. They were kind of hanging on for dear life in that third period. It was not looking good, but Blackwood stood tall. I think his best moment was definitely that Zegras penalty shot save. You think about somebody you wouldn't want to give a penalty shot to, it would be to Trevor Zegras. But he did a really good job just kind of waiting out, skating tall, and it capped off at least a good bounce back after that Isles game. So good for Blackwood. And I know Miner was reassigned after the game on Sunday. So you have to hope and imagine Wedgwood will be back in some sort of capacity tomorrow night against the Nashville Predators. But we'll see.
I wonder if he'll just back up.
Yeah, it definitely seems.
Because they did that with.
I think that makes sense.
When Blackwood came back, he backed up first.
Totally, yeah. But it's an encouraging sign for Miner to get sent down. Indicates that like you said, Wedgwood's at least on his way back to a backup role, and that's positive. Yeah, Brennan.
Miner would be unavailable until Friday at the very minimum, because he has to suit up as a backup at minimum in Friday's game in Loveland. And so they would be limited to pull up Posh, which he's been a stud. And so they could pull up Posh if they wanted to, and he would be available. But I doubt they'd give the reins to Posh if they're not even trusting Miner for some reason.
Yeah. Throwing Posh into a backup role where he probably won't have to play against Nashville, you think is safe. But at the same time, if they knew they were gonna, if they had any expectation they were gonna need a backup goalie, why even send Miner down, right? So it feels like they didn't need to send him down for a game, because there's not a game till after this one. So it doesn't make sense to me that they would be messing around with transactions. Just
I almost want to say, does that rule apply to goalies? Or was that was goalies given an exception to that rule?
I think under emergency conditions they are, but every team's going to learn to abuse that. And
if they want Brindley, because they had to put him on IR to get through the weekend, so that also could be the reason why they sent Miner because if they want to activate Brindley, they need roster spot.
That makes sense too. Yeah. Yeah. Let's talk about that bottom of the lineup where we expect Gavin Brindley to maybe come back in. Brennan, I want to ask you this. Over the course of the whole weekend, I mean, we saw Zakhar Bardakov come in under 5 minutes all 3 games. It seems like he's playing well, but not well enough to really garner more minutes, in my estimation. What are you thinking? What are your thoughts on how the bottom 6 shakes up if Brindley is able to return?
Well, Bardakov's going to get sat, to be honest, and
Yeah.
he's already pissed off. So, because he's already approached his agent and told him, it's like, I want more ice time, and so if he gets sat, honestly, I think that's going to be the last straw, and he's just going to be like, I'm going back. So we've seen it before with Little Z, and because he wasn't getting pulled up to the NHL when he was with the Eagles. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see it if this kid gets sat a few more times and he just is like, screw it, why am I even here?
Well, sitting in the NHL is a little bit better than sitting in the AHL.
Yeah, but like Little Z was playing. It's just
he was in the AHL though. I
Yeah.
mean, there's a difference when you're on an NHL roster, you're getting NHL pay. Like, I understand he's annoyed, but like, you have to give it a little patience, right? Because at least you're getting the money. At least you're on the jet.
Yeah,
right.
that's fair.
And then, and knock on wood, but something always else comes up. But yeah, I think this isn't what he expected. I don't know why the Avs keep doing this, the promises thing. I mean, it was so funny when Bednar said a couple weeks ago, well, Bardakov's growing on me. Like,
yeah.
Well, then clearly it wasn't he didn't make the team. He didn't earn the roster spot. I mean, it's all just BS.
Yeah, he's just like on that bubble. He's got 1 foot in, 1 foot out, and it's just like, if you're only playing him 5 minutes, it's like, if I were on a team and I were only playing 5 minutes, I'd have that attitude to be like, why am I even here? And when I was playing 18 to 20 minutes in my old team in the KHL, yeah, it's not as glorious, at least as we look at it, but he may look at it as a different light, but he would be at least playing. That's the thing. When you're a hockey player and you're sitting and playing only 5 minutes, that's just, and that, Ezra, it just sucks.
Yeah. I fortunately, I was a defenseman, so the least I was getting was around 10 or 15. But
yeah. And same here.
Still,
like, I was a defenseman the last 3 years that I played, and so I was playing out of the 45-minute games. I was playing at least 20-25 minutes. So, but as a forward, I was playing maybe like 15 if I were lucky.
Yeah, and I mean, there's something to be said for like, young players earning their minutes, learning to deal with that, learning to be effective in small amounts of playing time. There's truth to that. That seems to be a necessary step for most players to make the NHL, but definitely you can understand the frustration with it. So
yeah.
I also wouldn't necessarily say Brindley is without a doubt a lock to take that spot over Bardakov. I mean, there's still the whole young guy, blah, blah, blah thing. And seems like they're committed to him, but the young guy's always the easiest to cut too.
Yeah. And to go back on the goalie situation, I don't know what it is about Minor. I mean, it seems like Minor has certainly proved himself to work his way up, but they're just not giving him a chance.
But they don't care. Like,
yeah.
There's I'm sure they appreciate the role he's in, the third guy. I'm sure that they don't mind having him around, but they're not trying to develop him into anything. Like, he is what he is to them right now. So as far as they're concerned, he doesn't need to start.
There is also only one goal position versus 6 defenders and 12 forwards. So I think that also plays part into it. So just a competitive role, and that's a good problem to have, at least if you're the Avalanche. So,
well, the problem is, it's like, okay, Minor could have easily played one of those games in the last 3 games, and they chose not to play him, and they're so far ahead in the standings that they could have just giving Blackwood a break, let him play. You don't want to overplay your goalie first thing at the start of the season, and then he be worn out at the end of the season because he played too much. Because we know that the Avalanche have that problem of overplaying their goalies. We saw
They
it
have
with
that problem with
Georgiev.
everyone. They overplay all of their top
we saw
players.
that problem with Georgiev, and so that is my worry, is that they're going to get stuck on Blackwood because Blackwood's like, oh, I've got my hands back, I've got my feet back, things like that, and then they're not going to give him a break, and then Wedgwood is going to get cold.
I'm curious to see if they're going to continue that, because I think Wedgwood's been better, like even on the
Well, and
balance of
same
the
here.
And
I
I
actually
think
wrote that in my article today, that Wedgwood his 2 wins short of Calvin Pickard from 2016-17 from the whole season.
well, a lot of them are ahead. I think they're at 48 points right now. So
Yeah,
I mean,
they are tied. They're currently tied, and I go into a lot of breakdown, like it's like, okay, McKinnon is so many points short of his season high from 24 of that season. Gabriel Landeskog's a little bit off because understandably he's coming from 3 years back, but the goalie situation's completely night and day from that year, and that's because Varley had his hip surgeries and things like that, but Varley was overplayed the previous year.
Well, so
I'm seeing a trend, and it hurts the Avalanche.
I'm just curious about the Wedgwood thing moving forward, because if you listen to some of his own quotes, he characterizes it as a 1A, 1B, as a splitting starts. Like, he's said that multiple times, and not just right now, as in like that's what it is here. So I don't know if he's trying to give the message, but I mean, we'll see what happens. But I'd be surprised if they go back to more of a traditional starter backup, even though they're obviously paying Blackwood and Wedgwood to be starter backup. But I don't know if that's going to be the reality.
I do think, we talked about overuse of goaltenders, and I think there's a big difference between relying on Blackwood for 3 straight games over Minor versus switching off between Wedgwood and Blackwood in a more balanced way, right? Because that's 2 proven guys who, I mean, Wedgwood's forced himself into the Canadian Olympics conversation with his play this year. So I think it's clear to me that an ideal usage would be to keep those guys fairly close. And maybe you do tick up how often you start Blackwood leading into the playoffs, because he is the guy you're expecting to be that number 1A. But Wedgwood has earned more than just what a 1B would typically play. So, I agree with you, Jackie. It's interesting. It'll be interesting to see where this goes.
And I mean, Wedgwood's going to get a little bit of a break, technically, if he does get selected as the 3rd Olympic goalie, because he's probably not, I mean, and nothing against the guy. It's just he probably won't play. He'll be back up and sitting
Sure,
in.
I think he'd be happy with that.
It'd be an honor for him.
I thought it was interesting that he gave a quote about how he would be the perfect guy for that role because he's used to being a backup. So instead of choosing 3 starters and then having one of them be outside of their element, why not pick somebody that's been a great backup? And well, I mean, he makes a good point. It's a fair thing to consider.
Yeah, totally. I mean, backup goalie is a different job than starting goalie, and you would think, obviously a starter has the talent to do backup's job, but there's a different mindset there. It makes sense.
Yeah, and then with Trent Miner, the only way to get NHL experience is to play in NHL games, and they're not letting him do that. And the same problem happened with Annunen, that they were eventually forced to do that. They saw how rusty he was, and then they immediately traded him. And
but they're never going to rely on Minor. Like this is what I said. They don't care.
You get my point. Like it just like it got to a point that Annunen was the guy, and then he had no experience because they didn't want to fall on him at all.
I mean, they just didn't want him.
Yeah. So. And I have to say, with him, I think his play in Nashville has borne out that maybe they were right about that. But we'll see if he can develop more. I'd love for that for him. With Minor, I mean, I think it's just kind of a confluence of unfortunate events on this particular road trip that maybe he could have gotten that Philadelphia game if Blackwood had played great in both games against the New York teams, because you don't have a loss that you're trying to make up for coming into that game. If there's like, oh yeah, I guess we could drop a game in Philadelphia if Minor doesn't work out because we've won the rest of our road trip so far, maybe there's more of an opportunity for that. But again, I still don't think they would have done it. I think that's not the Bednar mindset. It's who's going to give me the best chance to win right now tonight, all the time, which you have to respect that to some extent. But anyway, we should move on from the goalie conversation. I want to shout out that we have upwards of 100 people listening to us right now or watching us live. Thank you so much for tuning in, everyone. We do have writing on our Mile High Hockey website, and also Evan and Brendan can be found on Hockey Mountain High. So if you're not already paying attention to those websites for written content, you should. If you're not already subscribing and sharing our content wherever you're following it, please do. It really does help the show a ton to have those likes, subscribes, and shares. So if you could do that, we'd very much appreciate it. Let's look ahead to next week's games. I know we didn't really touch too much on the Rangers or Flyers games, but so feel free to work those in if you have any takes on them. But I do think we should look ahead to the next week. So let me pull up the schedule. There it is. We're starting with a game on the road at Nashville. And then before our next podcast, we'll see the Avs go home to play Florida and Nashville again. Jackie, you already mentioned that, with the Islanders game, that was kind of our second shot at the Islanders, and the game script flipped. We've got 2 games against Nashville this week. Are you expecting the same thing, even though they're a bottom feeder in the league?
I kind of do, yeah. Honestly, it's and especially considering that I think less than 3 weeks ago they played Nashville already, so we're already kind of looking at a rematch, and then we have a true rematch. Nashville has played better. I mean, they're still, if you look at the standings, they're the worst team, but they have played better. I think they've won 4 out of their last 6, so they've, have seen some success.
Yeah, that's right. They beat the Wings, the Blackhawks, the Flames, and the Panthers, and lost to the Hurricanes and Jets. So there's a quality issue there too, but you are right.
Yeah,
5-5, I think, in their last 10.
So, obviously they're still a team the Avs should take care of. But I am curious to see how that close, especially the close rematch, works for them. It doesn't benefit the superior team to see the same team over and over again. Just more weird things happen. There's more familiarity. And I mean, Saros is a good goaltender, so he does have the ability to show up and stand on his head and steal a game. So I think that would be my primary concern. I mean, they do still have some decent players. Like, it's still a bit bizarre how terrible they are. It's not necessarily roster quality, and they've got Yossi back. That was probably part of their issue earlier in the season. So they're probably a little bit more competitive than I think you would just see on paper and just feel like, oh yeah, the Avs are going to roll that team. But I mean, you have to assume they're going to win every game at this point. It's just, I do think the matchup is a little bit more trouble than I think just on paper people would expect.
Yeah, I agree. I think, they definitely have depth issues both at forward and defense. The blue line beyond Yossi is a bit rough. Nick Hag was brought in to kind of shore things up, and I think everybody, when it happened, was like, oh, I don't know if that's the answer, and it hasn't been. But there's a chance that they can with just the top end talent that they have make a dent on the Avs. We'll see how that goes. In between those Nashville games, Evan, we've got the Florida Panthers, the 2-time defending champions, minus their 2 best players. What are you looking for in that matchup?
I'm looking forward to watch it with my own eyes because I head home for it and I can't wait. Good old holiday break coming up for me, so I'm looking forward.
Are you going to the game or watching it on TV?
I'll be back home in Denver for the holidays, so I'm looking forward to not only that, of course, but I know they also have the 1996 team celebration ceremony 30th anniversary thing for for winning the Stanley Cup. So they'll, I'm sure, have some things in store for that, which will be exciting to watch. So I hope TV altitude, shows whatever they end up doing this week, with that. And Florida's, I think, even though I think they're last in the Eastern Conference, I still think they're at 500 or right about 500. Like the Eastern
big
Conference,
500, but yeah.
The Eastern Conference is pretty tight, even still, even with the Panthers, kind of being, towards the bottom and without, two of their best guys, as you said, as Russ. So, you hope to come out and kind of come home from this long road trip and kind of make a statement again. I still don't think the Avs have lost on home ice in regulation, if I'm mistaken.
That's right.
So.
I don't think they've lost it all.
No, they lost that Dallas game at the very beginning.
That's right. Yeah,
in a shutout.
A lot of
their shootout.
Overtime losses have been on the road, but yeah.
Yeah, I think the Carolina game too, like that first Carolina game.
Yeah, that's true.
So, yeah. Regardless, though, I mean, you have a good home ice record. You got to try and keep a hold of that, keep that advantage going. So, good to see that. Hopefully, come Thursday night.
Yeah, I am pretty interested in seeing this matchup because Florida has been pretty mediocre, but they didn't have an amazing regular season last year either. So they are sort of on autopilot a little. Now they've got to kick it into gear to make sure they make the playoffs. So they're in a little bit worse position. But is this a game where their vets and everyone get motivated because it's a big matchup? And they're maybe a little bit tougher than people expect them to play right now. It is weird. Like some games they play really well. They score a lot, and then they just drop really dumb games too. So I am interested to see them in person myself as well and see what that looks like.
I'm just excited to see Brad Marchand.
I was about to lead you into it.
I was too.
Well done.
I was like, if he doesn't do it, we're talking about this team. If he doesn't do it.
It would be kind of hilarious
if
somehow talking about them is the one time you don't do it, but you did do it. Is there anything other than Brad that you're looking forward to in that matchup, Brennan?
I mean, I always like to watch Bobrovsky, to be honest, and I mean, I'm a goalie guy. I like watching the goalies. I will go to see just the goalie, and honestly, since Kachuk's probably not going to play. And Brad Marchand, no, not really looking forward to anything else.
I'm still a Seth Jones fan. I know it didn't work out for him so well in all of his various stops,
okay.
but
we need to get you a Seth Jones. We need to get you a Seth Jones hoodie.
I like Sam Reinhart, so
yeah,
I'm assuming
Sam
he's
Reinhart's
healthy.
cool.
I think he is. So
yeah,
he's playing. Yeah.
He's someone I look forward to seeing.
Speaking of Bobrovsky, though, he's actually been struggling this year. His save percentage is only .881, goals against average close to 3 at 2.98, and their backup goalie Daniel Tarasov has been significantly better. But I expect we'll still see Bobrovsky, but I just wanted to point that out.
It's I mean, gosh, the guy's only gone to the Stanley Cup the last 2-3 years.
It's reasonable for him to be tired.
He has had random bad seasons. Like when he first got to Florida, I think it was not pretty.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't.
Florida's
he seemed like
played a lot of hockey lately
on that $10 million contract, but then he made it worth it with 2 cups. So he's definitely a playoff performer, not so much a regular season performer, which kind of embodies the whole.
Kind of the whole team, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Evan, it looked like you were about to say something. I don't want to miss it if you were.
I was going to say that the goalie matchup would be interesting to watch just because it's Bobrovsky, but if he's been struggling, then I don't know, because I didn't know his numbers. I mean, if that's, you think about obviously championship, goaltenders, Bobrovsky is that, right? So it's at least, it would be a good, what's the word I'm looking for? A good measuring stick to see where Blackwood and or Wedgwood, whoever ends up playing that game on Thursday, matches up against a championship caliber goaltender. But even on an off time for Bobrovsky, I mean, he's still dangerous. So it would be interesting to see, regardless if he does show up for the game and ends up playing and ends up having a really good game, seeing how whoever the Avalanche goaltender is matches up to that and can really, I guess, could be a sign of maybe this is where we're at with this, and this is where we need to, get better in preparation for a cup run come April.
I think whoever
Absolutely.
starts that game, like if it's Wedgwood, if they go Blackwood, Nashville, and then Wedgwood, I still think that indicates like Wedgwood's getting the bigger games.
Mm-hmm.
Because then
As
you
of
would think
right now, I would, but that's just me.
No, I would too. I think, Blackwood has definitely made a comeback, and obviously those two shutouts were wonderful, and they were great team defense in front of him to make that happen too. But it has been Wedgwood making the big save when needed and avoiding the missteps here and there. We don't see a lot of those, like that fourth goal against the Islanders. That's not something we've seen from Wedgwood really this year. So it seems like he would be the guy to trust, but also you want Blackwood to become the guy to trust. So how do you get him there without giving him those games? Well, we'll have to see. We do have our next segment of the show to get to, which is our player of the week. I realize I don't have the ability to make a Twitter poll out of this like Adrian does, so we're not going to be able to get our insight from...
I could tweet.
Oh, that's okay. Let's keep it
Let's
simple.
just skip. Okay.
Yeah, thank you though. I haven't prepped you to give me your player of the week, so I'll give you a little bit of time.
That's true. I know. I need to think.
I'll give you a little bit of time to think on it. But I'd like a player of the week nominee from each of you, and whoever goes first gets to claim whoever they want, and then you have to come up with somebody new. But we will come to a consensus as a group, and I also want to hear from our listeners, those of you who are watching right now. Let us know who you think should be player of the week. And once we get our 3 noms, you can vote in the comments on your answer. And that'll be how we do the voting this week. For me, I think there's a bunch of great candidates. But yeah, Jackie, who you got?
I think just the easy one is McKinnon. Like,
yeah.
Nobody was great in the Islanders game. But I think McKinnon really showed up over the weekend. If I'm not mistaken, he factored heavily in the scoring in both. I mean, obviously the overtime goal against New York, and then off the top of my head, I believe that he had a lot of impact in the wins over the weekend.
Yeah, I mean, it's the overtime goal which was awesome, but also that batted in goal to get the lead.
Yeah,
2-1. That was so cool. I was so impressed with that, and to keep it below the crossbar, especially when the refs were kind of all over the place with making decisions in that game. So that was really nice. Yeah.
Listen, the Colorado Rockies keep waving a whole bunch of players. Just sign Nathan McKinnon up. He might help the Rockies win one more game.
This guy needs a break. And
yeah,
if he's going to be playing into late June, he's not going to be able to do both.
That's fair.
My
player of the week, I'm going to go with Marty Necas. He actually had a very solid week. 2 points against the Isles. I'm looking at this right now, goal and assist in that Isles game, which was nice. Necas, am I correct in this, that he had 3 points? Yeah, 3 points against the Rangers, who he's involved in all 3 goals. I think he was the one that dished off the pass to McKinnon for that setup for the overtime winner. Granted, he just kind of dished it off and McKinnon did the rest, but that showed that combo of Necas, McKinnon, I think McCarr was the one that was out there too.
Yeah.
Works in overtime. They figured it out. And unlike, like a month ago when we were talking about should McKinnon go off of the overtime 3-on-3? No. Yeah. There's your reason why. And then Necas, I think he also had another point against the Flyers as well. So good week for Marty all around. And that's what you like to see out of your top line right winger.
Yeah, that's a strong nomination on points. I mean, I think that Rangers game, he was not the most effective player, but he assisted on all 3 goals. So what are you going to do? His defensive lapses were frustrating in that one for sure.
That's true.
But you don't expect him to be the last man back in a lot of circumstances. You expect him to be the one setting up goals, and he did. So he made up for it, I'd say. And then I liked him more in the Philly game, even though he only ended up with 1 point. So I like that nomination. Brennan, who you got?
I'm going to go with what Vaguely says, Taylor McCarr.
Okay. Well, for your Avalanche player of the week?
Yeah. Technically, he's an Avalanche player.
All right. We'll count it.
He's under an Avalanche contract. The kid had 4 goals in 8 days, and for him, that's a lot.
Oh, definitely. No, that's great. I'm happy to see his success with the Eagles.
So
sure.
4 goals in 4 games, but they came in 2 games. So he had 2 multi-point games, 2 multi-goal games. And the second goal in the last game he played, I was in a lava island and just about nearly scared half the kids to death because I was at a birthday party and using headphones, and so that was fun. But so it's an indoor playground, but um he has definitely improved his play over the last couple weeks. He's driving to the net a lot more. He's lowering his shoulder. He's worked on his wrist shot. You can definitely tell that he's taking the feedback he's gotten from the Avalanche coaches and he's putting it to use. So, and it's paying off.
That's great to hear. I don't watch a lot of Eagles, but I like to know what's going on down there. So I always appreciate your insight on that, Brennan. And thank you vaguely for bringing it up as well. I'm gonna, between Natchez and McKinnon, I'm gonna have to vote McKinnon. And I do want to talk about. I want to take this opportunity to talk about the overtime thing because I know that all season we've been like every time McKinnon and Natchez get out there at the same time they lose. And look, I think it's so simple. They throw them out there. They say, we already got a point. Either win us the game or lose us the game. It's fine. Whatever happens, it's fine. And hey, when they keep the puck on their sticks, they win the game. When they turn it over once, they lose the game. And it's just a fun, in the middle of overtime, we're going to find out if we win or lose every single game. I love it.
Good old Russian roulette, NHL really overtime style, huh?
And I'm
I think the score was a good minute, or it wasn't immediate. It was
right. Yeah.
So I think the problem is not like McKinnon playing in overtime. Of course you're going to play him in overtime. It's does he need to be on the first shift? And that's what I've said is I don't think he needs to be out there the first 30 seconds of overtime because he's so much better on that counterattack. Like you can't stop him on a counterattack 1-on-1.
Yeah, I thought the way they handled that overtime speaks to what you're saying because they put out Nelson for the opening faceoff, and then once they got possession, then Nelson got off the ice and McKinnon came on.
And that's exactly how it should work. Usually when they do the stupid and they lose, it's like right away. So
yeah. Well, it seems like it's like the middle of overtime when all three of those guys get out on the ice together, and it's a gamble. But yeah, I mean, if you start with McKinnon, you start with a faceoff loss, and then you don't have possession, and then he's fighting to get it back, and that's great. He's good at that to an extent, but he's so much better if you just set him up for success by putting out Nichushkin and Nelson to win the puck back and set him up.
And it's kind of like what Tampa Bay does or used to do. Stamkos used to go out at the beginning of overtime, and he had some insane numbers on the faceoff dot. So he would always go out, win the faceoff, literally would do nothing else. He'd just win it, go right off, and then someone else would come on, usually Braden Point, and then they would do their shift, and then Stamkos would come back on.
Yeah,
and that's go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say I think people take it better if chances are going back and forth. Then it is like that coin flip. Then it's like okay, their team made a good play. I just think what frustrates people is when you lose it right away.
Yeah. And Nate's notorious. Like it seems like he's just never been great at faceoffs, but. Maybe Landy and Nelson need to be the ones that usually take them.
Nelson has never been great at faceoffs either.
Well, it seems like he's better than McKinnon, but
he's been having success this year to an extent. But Drury is really who you think of as faceoff ace.
Yeah.
But yeah, Nelson. It's. I saw a breakdown of his faceoffs a couple weeks back. I don't know if it's still true, but it looked like he constantly loses offensive zone faceoffs. Like his offensive zone faceoff percentage was terrible, but defensive and neutral zone he was winning. So I don't know what that means. It's just interesting, and it could also just be small Nelson.
Well, and offensive and defensive, the stick is either up or down. I think when you're in the defensive zone, the offensive player gets to have their stick down first.
That actually changed. It's now the away team always has their stick down first, all face off, which is kind of wild, but that's how they're doing it. So, yeah, I don't know. It's face offs are such a. I mean, literally they're a toss up. So it is what it is.
Yeah, but I mean that can make the matter of the difference.
Yeah, totally. Especially in overtime, that possession is so key. And we saw when the Avs have it for most of overtime, they win, which makes total sense because you can't shoot if you don't have the puck. But let's. So I think it's just my vote is the only one that matters. McKinnon is our player of the week. We good with that, everybody?
I mean,
Yeah, well, he's
it's
leading the
him.
NHL, so can't really argue that.
Yeah, for real. He's the player of the season so far, I'd say. I think the Athletic polling from last week had him as a runaway favorite for all of the offensive trophies. Hart Ross, Maurice Richard, like all of it. I was like, even the Richard, I don't know about that, but okay.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know about that one either.
I think there was an article that was released by the Athletic, I don't know, maybe a week ago or something, that was titled, "Is Nathan McKinnon better than Connor McDavid?" And people are finally kind of circling around to that.
I'd say this season, it's not even a question. Is he more talented? Is he the better hockey player for the entirety of their career? I don't think that's a question either. Obviously not. But this season, yeah, he's the best player in the world right now, in my opinion.
I don't think there is one best player in the world, period.
Sure.
I think they're all. I think the elite of the elite is all in the conversation all the time.
Yeah, that's a good point. Well, we do have bold predictions to get to, but I wanted to open it up. Does anybody have any other topics that they want to talk about?
I want to bring up one, and I know we kind of exhausted it before, and I know Brennan was actually going to write on this earlier today. But then switch it up. Power play. Good old power play.
Yeah.
They finally scored on the road. Yes, I guess
that's the reason why I switched it up.
Yeah, they finally scored on the power play yesterday with Brock Nelson. Granted, barely went in, but that was probably maybe their best power play of the season. They were moving that puck pretty well on that power play opportunity, and it finally went in. But I mean,
I was still going to call it the passer play.
The passer play. Well, I mean, I look more specifically too at that Isles game. I'd have to go back and go look at the number of power plays that they had, but I mean, it could have been a difference. But I don't know. It's just, I guess the question I'll ask about the power play is, does it get better in this stretch where you're playing at least a little bit more consistently going forward?
I'd say yes and no. I think I'd be surprised if they finish the season statistically where it is, but I think the concerns that we've voiced and we've talked about for years on it, I think are legitimate. They're not just small sample size. They're not just natural ebbs and flows. I think I still think the same issues are. I think they're still missing Mikko. They don't have the same element on the right side. They're stuck in the same structure. I think Makar needs to do more. He still doesn't have a goal. And a little bit of him at 0% is a little bad luck. But I looked up the statistics the other day. He still takes the most shot attempts per 60 on the power play of anyone. He shoots more than McKinnon, and a third are hitting the net. He's missing the net 2/3 of the time. So, and if you look at the heat maps, I mean, he's shooting from near the blue line. That is
okay. Well, and Ezra and I can attest for it. Shooting from the blue line is a lot more difficult than most people think. Shooting through a crowd and shooting from that distance it's a 4x6 block, but one, you have the goalie in front of you, and then two, you have all that crowd to freaking be in front of you. It is harder than you think.
I mean, I'm not saying it's his fault. I'm not saying, Makar sucks and that's why the power play is bad. It's just you don't want the majority of your shots coming from the blue line. It doesn't matter who it is, right?
I was going to say, I think that's Jackie's point, that you don't want shots coming from there. And if you want Makar specifically to be shooting, that you could move around a little bit more, like everybody on the power play good, So I think that's kind of the point I'm getting at. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jackie, but
I'm not saying Makar suddenly sucks. It's just, it's not working. You have the best defender in the world and it's not working. And like I said, him at 0% is a little bit of an anomaly, bad luck. But when a third of your shots are hitting the net, you're not going to score a lot. Which is crazy because he was shooting 20% last year. So I do think it's a little bit of a correction, but you also don't
Mhm.
have Miko on the right side. You're having the penalty killers attack you differently, and they don't really seem to have come up with a real solution for that. So I do think it is a long-term concern. I do think it will statistically get somewhat better, and they'll probably go a little roll, and everyone will say, "See, you were worried about nothing." But the point is, we need to have it firing on all cylinders when it really matters.
Yeah. Yeah.
To be honest, I think they need to put Nichushkin back on the top line, the
Top line or top power
top
play unit.
unit,
Yeah.
because they threw him up for one power play, and it was like 30 seconds into the power play. He was up there on the freaking crease, and doing Nichushkin things, and scored. Gosh, it had to have been the last power play goal that they had before this last one. And looking at the numbers, this is typical of Haskell's numbers.
That's true. That is true.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
was looking back at his Seattle. I mean, I know he probably wasn't running the power play, but as a head coach, when he was head coach of Seattle, these were about the same numbers. He was at
Yeah.
I think 14% when he was with
Yeah.
Seattle for the first year, and God knows what was going on with that roster, because when they did their draft, I couldn't figure it out.
Well, Jared McCann was their trigger man for that power play.
Yeah.
So they really, it's a completely different personnel unit, but he's getting the same results. So you have to ask, I think even when he was hired, we were all like, is this really the guy we want for a power play? But okay.
And then the second year they improved up to 19.5%. So are we going to have to wait another year to see a 5% bump in the 16% they have right now?
Yeah.
I don't think
I think they'll
fans are
probably
going to
get
put
to
up with
20.
that.
I think so too.
At the end of the year, I think they're probably at 20, but should that be good enough for who they have?
No.
Even though McKinnon's not Ovi, he really isn't a stationary shooter. What makes McKinnon is elite is speed in addition to what he can do. But, so I don't think it's quite as talented, quote unquote, as maybe some of the others that have those high percentages, but there's also no excuse. You have the two best players in the world, and you have to figure it out. Do something different.
And I think it was you, Jackie, that said McKinnon's not Ovi.
Yeah, exactly. He's not. He shouldn't be. He shouldn't be. Even when they had Miko, it was like he was always kind of like option A, and it never should have been.
Yeah,
Well,
and he shouldn't be planning himself in that face-off circle.
Yeah, he shouldn't. His shot's not good enough for that. I know
No.
it sounds crazy to say. He's an elite player. He's good at everything, but he doesn't have an elite shot.
Not one time
he doesn't have he's not Ovechkin in the fact that his shot is not Ovechkin's, but also in that he's not just banging it away every time it comes to him. Ovechkin was shooting every single time you pass to him there, and McKinnon catches and looks a lot. And I think that's why we end up with Makar having so many shots from the point, is just that the system as designed is looking for that McKinnon shot, but McKinnon knows that he's not going to take it if it's not the right shot. So then he catches, delays, they move it around a little bit more. It comes to Makar, and Makar's like, well, we got to shoot. So he's firing these shots that miss. So it's not designed for Makar's shot, which I think is what I've talked about this last time. It's designed wrong, because Makar, if you want Makar to be the shooter, then you need to be feeding him kind of more shifted over towards where McKinnon is standing and
or
looking
lower,
or the right side. Makar loves that shot from the right side.
That works too. Yeah, if you're looking for his one-timer, you want him on the left. But if you're looking for him to just create his own shot, then move him to the right. But with him as the distributor and kind of safety valve when things don't go well, the safety valve is putting a lot of pucks on net that are missing the net because they're not designed. So it's a mess. But it is what it is. I think it'll get better over the course of the season. I really do. There's just too much talent there. So we'll see where it goes.
And then how many Stanley Cup teams have are converting less than 25%?
Not many, but the generally the consistent thread, through line between Stanley Cup winning teams, is dominance at 5-on-5. So I still feel good about the team, but you gotta figure out a power play solution that works.
And the thing with Ovi was that that Washington's power play was so predictable, it still worked.
Yeah.
I remember bringing
Still does.
what's that?
It still does.
It still does, but wait
Mhm.
till Ovi retires or leaves the NHL, and then see what happens with Washington.
Well,
But
they have good young players though. That's
yeah, but they don't have Ovi.
helping them.
Brian Leonard's not Ovechkin. He's good. He's
Yeah,
not Ovechkin.
nobody's Ovi, and because I remember back in like 2018, I remember bringing a friend who'd never seen Ovi play ever, and bringing him to a game, and me and my wife were just sitting there. It's like, okay, watch him during the power play. He's just gonna coast right to there, and then they're gonna pass one time, pass one time. It's gonna be like on the third shot, he'll score. And it was exactly that. And they were just like, how did you know that? It's Ovi. That's the way it is.
But it's like they
That's how
didn't
it's
get better
always
until
been.
they got young players.
Yeah.
So
Well,
that's the
that's true.
difference.
Yeah. Well, let's move into our bold predictions. Adrian has a log of everyone's bold predictions that he writes down, and because he's off gold mining or vacationing in Hawaii or whatever he's doing, I don't have that log. So I remember that I'm gonna ding and buzz what I can. I don't know what Adrian predicted. I do
Yeah, I
know.
can't remember.
I do know what Brennan predicted. Brennan, you predicted a goal for TJ Tynan, and that was wrong. But you also predicted a goal. Oh, it's looping. Sorry. You also predicted a goal for Keaton Middleton, and that was correct. It's looping again. Okay, I gotta.
I'll
there's
take
no
two.
loop setting. It
The
just does it.
infinite buzzes, infinite correct.
Yeah. Listen, I didn't know how much work Adrian was doing stopping these things from going a second time. Now that I know, props to Adrian.
I kind of remember something like his prediction was about 60 shots on goal. They were going to give up less than 60 shots on
That's
goal.
right, and
That
that
is,
was wrong.
Wait,
Yeah.
did I say what?
No, that was
No, no.
Adrian.
I
He
think
did
that was
earlier,
Adrian's
now that you said it.
prediction.
Yes.
I
So
was
we
like,
buzzed
I
you,
didn't say
Vito.
anything about shots on goal.
And then if I have to guess, his second prediction was somebody getting a hat trick, which was also wrong.
Yeah.
Evan, you guessed a Makar power play goal. Is that correct?
Which Makar?
Oh, I meant Kale, unfortunately. Was
Okay,
Taylor
that was wrong.
McCart, was one of Taylor's a power play goal?
I don't think so. No.
I don't think
Okay.
so either.
Well, then that
Also,
was wrong too.
for the record, Ado's 60-shot prediction was off by 34.
Wow.
Yeah.
He had 94 shots. In
That
this-
Islanders
Well, we didn't
game
see
was
that
deep.
Islanders game coming.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
Isles game was rough. That basically
Yeah.
ate into all of it.
And Evan, did you have a second prediction, or was that your only one?
That was my only one. I couldn't think of another one. I was
Gotcha.
still jet lagged from Europe. I still am jet lagged from Europe and about to travel further back in time in a couple of days. So yippee.
Well, Jackie, then you predicted that the Avs would win every game,
And that was a no.
and
think I
also
do.
that Gavin Brindley would score a point.
I still think I have the first Nashville game because I think I said for the week for the road trip.
Oh, okay. Yes.
So I
Well,
do
then we
still
will-
have that one more game for that
we will
one.
address that next
Yeah.
week then. For me, I have no idea what I said. I'm pretty sure I was wrong, though.
Give yourself the buzzer.
And then I know I made a second prediction that was my second prediction was that they would not give up. No, maybe it was my first prediction. I know one thing was wrong, and then the other thing that I remember was that they wouldn't give up a regulation goal to either New York team, which was wrong. So we'll see if we do better this week. We only had one ding, and that was for Brennan, who I believe that moves you into a tie with the rest of us behind Jackie for
Woo,
second place. But I
finally.
don't know for sure because I don't have the numbers.
All you need to know is that I'm in last place.
But we'll remember when Adrian gets back that we'll make sure Brennan gets his ding
Yes, I think that's
out of
that's
all of
fair.
us. Yeah.
It looks like I'm looking over the comments here because Vaguely was not watching last week, so didn't make a prediction. Got it. Well, you're welcome to make a prediction this week. Let's get into this week's bold predictions, which is a sponsored segment. So let's hear a word from our sponsor.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
Oh, okay. I don't know how these work. Sorry. I thought the video would have an audio component. It sure didn't. But I do know that we are brought to you. Bold Predictions is a segment brought to you by Brews Ale House in Pueblo, Colorado, on the Pueblo River Walk. They've got house-made drinks, a revamped menu. Get in there and have a good time. Now we'll get into our bold predictions.
I call that bold talk.
There we go. Great. Okay. The whole cue played at different times. It all works. You know what? This is what happens when you have a backup goalie and some things get missed. But folks, let's get into our bold predictions. Jackie, I'll go to you first. What's your bold prediction for
Okay.
this week?
I will go with two topics that we talked about. So one, my bold prediction will be I think they will lose one of the Nashville games. But I will say they will score a power play goal in every game they play.
Oh, I like that. I like that second one.
Ooh.
Every game.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
Okay, nice. I like that. What gives you confidence in the power play this week?
Just because I do think there is room for some upwards regression. So I think they're due. Like, come on, McCarr's got to score one.
It's gotta happen.
Just because they've got to, which probably would lend. How do they lose to Nashville if they actually score on the power play? But we'll see. Not necessarily because the way it's looked. I just think more it's due in a way. I think they'll have some success. So it's going to trend up a little bit. Like I said, and then everyone will be like, "Oh, the power play's fixed," but it's just kind of gets a little bump.
It'll just kind of happen. It'll look the same, but something will go in. I kind of agree with you. Brennan, how about you? What you got for bold predictions this week?
Well, the Vaguely's got one. Go to him first.
Okay, sure. We can do Vaguely's first. Vaguely Sober predicts that, or Vaguely Stats, excuse me, you've changed your name. Predicts that Brennan and Ty Felleber will share a coffee at the Ferris wheel at Shields, and then Felleber will score a hat trick. We'll see if any of that comes through.
I mean, Felly is a good guy, but he's not that good to me.
all I gotta say is that Ferris wheel at the Shields up there by Loveland, that's a good one. I like it. If you know, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know, but it sounds nice. Brennan, are you ready, or should I go to Evan?
Go to Evan.
Okay, Evan, what you got for bold predictions?
All right, I got two this time since I didn't make two last week. I think, for one, that I think the Avalanche will get a shutout this week. That was the last time I got a ding. Feels like a good opportunity for that again against Nashville and or Florida. And my second bold prediction has to kind of do with the 1996 celebration that they're going to have on Thursday there at Ball Arena. I think that the Avs are going to beat the Panthers by one of the score lines that they beat them in the 1996 finals. So for that, let me give you the scores. So game one.
Are they going into triple overtime?
No, they're not going into triple overtime. Trust me. That's not
I ain't
happening.
staying that long.
So they won game one of that 96 series 3-1. They won game two 8-1. If they win that Panthers game 8-1, holy moly. They won game three in Florida 3-2. I think that one's the most likely. And then, of course, they won game four there in that triple overtime game 1-0. So I think they will win that Panthers game by one of those score lines. Is my bold prediction.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I like that. That'll be cool if that happens. A little bit of history repeating itself in a nice way. Brennan, how about you? What you got?
Minor shutout, at least one.
Okay.
And they've got to go ahead.
I was gonna say, if you don't make a Brad Marchand prediction, Cutting you off right here.
Okay, then I've got 3. Brad Marchand
Okay, you can
scores
have
a
3.
goal against the Avalanche,
Okay.
but that's not very bold. And then Felliber with a shorty.
Wow.
All
Okay.
right.
All right.
Well,
glad
I
we
mean,
got one.
Ontario is they're actually somewhat decent right now. They're only 6 points out from Ontario from the Eagles, and so this is going to be a weekend that they can try and close the gap.
All right, I like it. And for me, let's see. I'm gonna go. So there was a wild stat in the Philadelphia game that Sam Malinsky, Sam Girard, and Josh Manson all skated exactly 16 minutes and 43 seconds. And I don't know how that happened. It feels like it can't be true. But I feel like Malinsky's minutes are ticking up. So I'm gonna say Malinsky plays more at 5-on-5 than Girard.
With another goal.
I'd love to see him score, but I'm just looking at his time on ice because I'm really like the way that, man, the second pair has been such a roller coaster that I'm like, they do kind of need to move for a left-handed defenseman, but the more I can justify keeping Malinsky, the more I want to. You know what I mean? I love him so much. I think he's such a great fit. So I'm really keyed in on how much trust he's getting from Bednar. Bagley Stats says in the comments, Malinsky's minutes are about 2 minutes a game, so he's getting 2-ish more shifts per game. I think that's right, and I think that's Bednar saying, "Hey, don't move this guy." You know, I like this guy.
Yeah,
I don't know what the answer is because sitting Girard or trading Girard just feels wrong to me still too. But and you're not moving Manson or Burns, so to me it's like let's just bring in an extra guy, and I don't mind if Malinsky sits a little bit. Like I don't know. It just feels inevitable, but I really don't want it, so I'm watching him.
Soliev has not played since the 1st of November.
Yeah, that's gotta come
he's
to
not an NHLer. Sorry,
I get it. He's not an NHLer, but the only action he's seen for the last month and week is practice.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Yeah. No, it sucks for him, but it also makes sense.
I got 2 things on your Malinsky thing. One is I looked it up. You said the Philly game. They looks like they revised Malinsky up to 1644, but you're right. Manson and Girard had 1643.
Okay, so I was right in hindsight.
No, I mean, yeah, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just I know. I think the Malinsky thing probably should be its own topic at some point because like I agree with everything. Like what if a luxury to have a guy like him that fits the system and everything, etc. But I just think they totally missed the boat on like I don't think they can re-sign him. I just don't think they're gonna have the money for it. And I think that's the problem.
I think if he ends up being able to, like, if he ends up in a second pair role, which I don't really foresee, like, that's not something that I think is going to happen. But if for whatever reason Burns or Manson is unavailable and we really see Malinsky playing like closer to 20 minutes on a regular basis, then the argument for replacing him, I feel like kind of loses all its steam. And at that point it's like, okay, well, yeah, maybe we do move on from Girard and keep Malinsky instead, and I'm not advocating for that. I'm a big Girard fan here. But like the Burns contract, it's only $1 million on the cap hit, but it is $4 million. That is something where that money could go to Malinsky in the future. But yeah, I mean, the way he's playing, you could see a team throwing $5 million at him pretty easily. So
because I think they probably need to at least pay $4 million to keep him. Now I guess I'll have to really crunch some numbers to see if they say goodbye to Burns. Can he be that guy? It's just too bad they couldn't have just got a couple years of term.
It's an interesting conversation. I'm just thinking out loud. If Burns decides to retire, if the Avs decide they want to keep going with Brindley with his new deal and let go of like the Kiviranta, or a Bardakov, a Kelly. I don't know, something along those lines.
Kelly's not going anywhere.
Because like Kelly's
Or
probably
O'Connor,
not,
no, just
but
kidding. I know he's not.
No,
Kelly's here
O'Connor's
till 2030.
So I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud here, but that is
I
an
do
interesting
wonder if
conversation, probably for another
Ross
time.
Colton is still kind of on the out,
Yeah, I mean,
especially with what he's getting paid.
He's the money that doesn't fit. He's playing very well, so it's hard to justify from the gameplay standpoint. But as far as
His
just looking at the
minutes-
cap hits,
His minutes have been really low lately. Again,
yeah, he's not getting the special teams time, so it's hard for him to. But anyway, we should get to my second bold prediction, which because we got to get out of here. Which no, that's okay. It was we should have, since I was in control today, I should have just made this. I should have just made this the Malinsky episode like I wanted. But
next week.
next week, yeah. But I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go a 4-point week for Gabe. I didn't get I remembered what my other bold prediction was, which was a 5-point game for the second line. Didn't happen, but I do think a 4-point week for Gabe is reasonable. Let's see what happens. I'm excited to see this next week. Yeah, we both got Landy jerseys. I love. Oh, you've got the Eagles one. That's so cool.
Yeah.
I knew Brennan was gonna like that bold prediction as soon as you said Gabe.
Yeah. Brennan likes that name for some reason. Yeah,
that's it.
Well, thank you all so much for tuning in. We've got 300 of you watching right now, which is wonderful. Thank you all for tuning in. As I said, you can find all of our content on milehighhockey.com, or you can find Evan and Brennan at Hockey Mountain High. We are also on any podcast platform you listen to. So if you're wondering how you can get this in your ears at another time, the way is to look up MHH Lab on Spotify, Apple Music, Pocket Cast, wherever you go for your podcasts. We are there. And we're also here on YouTube or wherever else you're watching us currently. So like, subscribe, let your friends know. We appreciate all the support we can get from you. And as always, thank you so much to Adrian Hernandez for putting this all together. And I think that's it. Let's get out of here. On behalf of Evan, Brennan, and Jackie, I'm Ezra Parter saying, go Avs. Oh, wait, there's an outro video. Hold on.
We love technical difficulties. We should start a chant. Let's go Avalanche or something.
There isn't an outro video, but there is like an outro music. All right, well, we'll do the music. Okay, and then on behalf of everyone, I'm Ezra saying goodbye.
Gosh.
Thank you for tuning into the Mile High Hockey Lab.